There are people that walk around, like if you go to like a Gold's Gym in Venice in the heyday when all the elite bodybuilders would go there, they don't even look like humans. They look like walls with feet.
And we have a video. Research shows that octopus like to punch fish out of spite. Thank you, this has been Shredded Sports Science. We got there in the end. And so I got this advert on my previous video, and I was wrong. This product is indeed legit because it's being promoted by Becky Scrumptious and Leo Savage. What sort of names are those? I spit out my jaw exerciser laughing when I saw that. So let's talk turkey. I was watching a podcast with Mariana, an investigative journalist, that's easy for me to say, where she reports on black market activity, including illegal substances. And then Joe was asked this question.
Because when have I compared Arteta? You have him. You have.
Sorry, not that one. This one.
Wait, how do you stand on steroids, by the way? What's your... Because one of our episodes was about steroids.
I think that steroids are...
That was as awkward as me trying to say this bloke's name.
There's a lot of different things that are legal now in terms of like you can get testosterone replacement therapy, hormone replacement therapy, and they basically give you the vial.
Joe Rogan, of course, takes TRT. He is open about it. He does indeed have the vial.
So in the UFC, it's not allowed now?
No. A lot of people get busted.
A quick slideshow.
I know about this initially because of the UFC, and the UFC had there was a TUE, testosterone use exemption.
Or what were known as the glory years, where TRT Vitor was straight slaying people.
They became fucking murderers for like 3 years.
Holy traps.
My friend Brian, who lived in Boston, was a natural bodybuilder, and he was very dedicated. He worked out very hard. He ate very clean, and he was like super, super dedicated. He is nothing like those giants that you see at the gym that are on steroids.
And so in this part of the podcast, they discussed exogenous tests, roids, and other substances. And so I'm not a bodybuilder, obviously, and so I'm not going to discuss competitive bodybuilding and the use of substances in that sport specifically, because that just ain't my place. However, Joe does say this.
Or let's look at bodybuilding.
Or
Bodybuilding's the best one.
Yeah,
doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
What do you mean? Testing
bodybuilding doesn't exist.
Oh, right. It doesn't exist if
with
it weren't for
steroids
exactly.
exists.
And Joe also discusses substance use for female bodybuilders when he says this.
Her shoulders were massive, and she was talking like this.
This, I
This
know.
is what I eat.
Yeah.
This is every morning I have to consume 6,000 calories. She sounded like The Rock.
Yeah.
Like it was
crazy.
bizarre.
And my video is purely a commentary video with the context of discussing the issues raised in this podcast in terms of health. And to be clear, in no way would I recommend taking these substances, and I will not be showing the use of any of these substances or anything like that. This is purely discussional, informational, and educational in nature. And so this video is in my discussional playlist, so of course, please interact, and please let me know what you think of the ideas that are raised. And here comes the story that made me want to pull my hair out.
I went to a bodybuilding competition in Vegas for the show where we were following this kid who was mostly not doing steroids at this time. And like your friend, he was trying to see if he could make it into this competition without the heavy use of, or heavily using steroids and other PEDs. And he went on stage and you could see the difference between him and the other guys. I mean, everybody else there was heavily using PEDs.
Yeah.
And then you'd see him. We actually followed him. We were with this guy called Tony Huge, who calls himself Tony
Huge.
Have you heard of this guy?
I have, and I've talked about this guy's information before, so I won't repeat it. But in a nutshell, he sells chemicals that are not approved for human consumption. He then markets those chemicals as curing major disease.
I mean, I use SARMs to cure people for diseases.
Did you ever consider you're full of
He's involved with illegal fat-burning substances, calls himself a doctor even though he's not, and he's ironically a lawyer. I think he may need some legal advice with that one.
No,
He's pretty incredible.
He is not.
Because he has a huge following.
Because he posts pictures of cheeks every 3 minutes.
Huge following.
And so in my opinion, what he stands for is a complete joke. And he is literally an embodiment of everything wrong with the so-called health and fitness industry.
And he calls himself Dr. Tony Huge, even though he's not a doctor, but he is a lawyer.
The best type of relationship for me would be to have 3 girlfriends and we all live together. It's been really hard to get all the girls to stay in one household together and not fight. Girls just get so catty.
And if anyone is interested in, he's basically a spokesperson for steroids. He's people who are bodybuilders. He's also a bodybuilder himself and goes to gyms and competitions. And
I'm pretty sure that Dr. Tony Huge is not a spokesperson for anything, and most certainly not a spokesperson for competitive bodybuilding.
He was with this kid, and kids adore him. I mean, we spoke to teenagers who look up to Tony Huge and want to do everything he does.
And that is one reason that I make the videos that I do. There are a large proportion of people who do look up to these fitness influencers. I make videos critiquing information from people like Dr. Tony Huge, for example, and so I try to think of my channel in some part as kind of giving equilibrium to that. And when it involves teenagers taking substances rather than embracing health and fitness at a young age and developing naturally at that age whilst their body is growing, that is something that I just don't like seeing. For example, the Gymshark, teenage influencer, fake natty type people that I've made fun out of before, there is a reason behind it.
And this kid wanted to be, he went to Vegas to help this kid out. And in
How
the
old
middle
was
of
this kid?
he was like 19, I believe. His name's Zach from Florida. Super nice kid. Met his mom, all of it. But had tried steroids, had sort of a bad experience with steroids, decided he was going to try and do it with other things, but not steroids, not testosterone itself, but other substances.
And so to be clear, she's talking about SARMs, which are research chemicals not approved for human consumption, and which these guys market as this magic alternative to the illegal substances, the roids, for example, and these things have no side effects and they're just brilliant and magic and all that.
And in the middle of the competition, Tony Huge says, okay, it's time for us to go back to your apartment and get you ready for round 2. They go back, and we filmed all of this, and he opens up a big suitcase, and inside this suitcase, it's like the Mary Poppins suitcase that more and more is coming out, you know, and starts giving him injections of insulin and all sorts, I don't know, half of the things that he was giving.
And so to be clear, Mariana made a documentary where she films Dr. Tony Huge injecting a 19-year-old with multiple compounds, SARMs and insulin. And I get the fact that the guy isn't going to win the competition if he's natural, but from a health point of view, this is just really troubling.
And the kid's like, are you sure this is okay? Are you sure this is okay? And I'm worried for him. And he says, okay, I'm starting to feel my heart beating really fast. You know, you don't you worry. And then he goes back, and you could actually see the transformation in this kid's body within an hour of him taking these drugs. I am not joking.
What is the transformation? What happened?
His vessels, his blood veins,
Vascularity?
yes, were popping. His veins were, so that's something good apparently for these kind of competitions.
And so there is a very clear path laid out by the illusion industry. If you are a teenager and you want to become a fitness influencer or competitor, then taking multiple compounds is most certainly a very clear path laid out.
Yeah, this Tony Huge guy, I actually kind of grew very fond of him just because he's so honest about what he does. I don't think his message is very safe.
His message is atrocious, and it's not admirable at all, the fact that he's open about the stuff that he does to other people.
Is there videos of him? Can we see what he looks like? This Tony Huge,
he's
Phil?
great.
Does he look
Oh,
ridiculous?
he's going to love this.
Don't show his page, or he will of course post a clip to Instagram referring to himself in the third person to promote his on-screen appearance where he injects illegal chemicals into teenagers and is proud of it.
Oh, he's pretty big.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah, but he's tiny compared to Rich Piana.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he looks very good.
Yeah.
See, he doesn't look preposterous. Still, he looks great. Like that is a guy who's in very good shape.
Let's ask his heart how good a shape it is in.
So yeah. So that is
Basically, he decided to start taking steroids.
that's when he
realized-
decided. Is that what it
Yeah.
says? Okay, so that can be achieved naturally.
No, the dude is absolutely juiced to the gills there as well.
That absolutely can be achieved naturally, especially with good genetics.
And this is the part where it starts to go a little bit wonky. And so I'm not going to pretend that I have all the answers when it comes to these issues. There's so many issues raised. It's so wide and varied in what we can think about. And so, of course, I do want your input and your interaction. And thank you so much for watching my videos. This is James Linker, Shredder Sports Science. I'll see you soon.